Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chita, so today we start with the Chumash of the day, the sixth reading of the Parshas of Vayikra, the last portion, the book of Leviticus. We're holding on chapter 27, verse 22. The Torah continues with the laws of when somebody consecrates, somebody gives a donation of his land to the Beis Hamikdash. So we learned yesterday that if somebody consecrates his land to the Beis Hamikdash and he does not redeem it in the year of Jubilee, then in return, and if the Beis Hamikdash sold the land, then it goes to the Kohen of that in the year of Jubilee. It goes to the Kohen that is who's in the Mishmar, who is doing the service in the temple on that Yom Kippur. He receives the land, or they divide it up between the land, the Kehanim of that who are in that time, in that period of their service in the temple. We're holding chapter 27, verse 22. V'im esdei miknasei, asher lo misteach chuzasei yakdish l'Hashem. If somebody makes a donation to the Beis Hamikdash, consecrates to the Lord the field that he had acquired. He bought a field to somebody, and then he took the field and he gave it to the Beit HaMikdash as a donation. It's a field that he bought, that the field goes out in the year of Jubilee to the original owner. He decided that he's going to take this field that he bought for 49 years, or whenever the Jubilee is going to be, he's going to give it as a donation to the temple. Now the question is, what happens with the field on the year of Jubilee? So Rashi says, so there's a difference between an acquired field. That's this field. A guy who buys a field from somebody else for the most amount of time till Jubilee, or a field that's part of an inheritance property. Somebody that sells his own field that belonged to him, that he got an inheritance from his father's father, from the time the Jewish people came to the land of Israel. So there's this day mikna, there's an acquired field, and there's this day achuzah, an inherited field. So namely, that the acquired field is not approached amongst the Kahanim in the year of Jubilee, because the acquired field can consecrate the field only until Jubilee. Why? If I buy a field from somebody else in the year of Jubilee, it's going back to the previous owner. So how can I consecrate this field more than the year till the year of Jubilee? Therefore, if the original owner comes to redeem the property, he must redeem it that it was same a fixed valuation for the field that I was a part of an inherited property. Should one who consecrated redeem it, according to the sages, redeem it according to the market value. But if he does not redeem it, the treasurer and the treasurer sold it to somebody else, because what it need the field for. Or if he does not redeem it according to Tosfos and Erechim, in the reading of Rashi, is if one redeemed it and remains in possession of the treasure, in the year of Jubilee, the field reverts to the one who consecrated brought. Meaning the original owner of the field. So there's a different law when one donates his own property that he acquired as an inheritance from his fathers, or one who bought a piece of land and donated the field. The one that gave it to the Beis Hamikdash, what he owned, returns to the Kohen, becomes part of the Kohen's property. The one that gave a donation from the field that he bought, it goes back to the original owner. And that's the way it goes. Now, lest you say that the expression "Lasher Kaneim Eater" refers to from the one who this acquired, most recently acquired field, name of the treasurer, and that our verse is thus stating here that from comes Jubilee, the field refers to the treasurer. Therefore, it's necessary to state in verse 24, namely the one who inherited the land. It goes back to the original owner, meaning the inherit from his ancestor, referring therefore to the original owner who had sold it to this middle guy who consecrated it to the temple. Verse 23. The Kohen shall calculate for him the amount of the valuation until the year of Jubilee. And he shall give the valuation if he's coming to redeem this land. So the Holy One, but he has to give it to the Beis Hamikdash because he's redeeming it from the temple. But if nobody redeemed the land, the original owner didn't redeem the land, the one who sold it didn't redeem the land, Mishnat HaYovel, in the year of Jubilee, Yoshuv HaSada LaShekaneu, the Sada, the field, returns to the one who owns it. Kaneim, the one who bought it from. To the one who inherited the land, which is the original owner. Verse 25. Every evaluation is made according to the holy shekel. Esrim Geda Yah shekel. So in the Torah that had its own evaluation of a shekel, and it had its own money, so to say, how the Torah evaluated money, and that's the way you needed to do the evaluation, even though it might have changed throughout history. Ultimately, 1 shekel is equivalent to 20 agavs. So that's what Rashi says. Every evaluation regarding the shekel is written and made according to the holy shekel, according to the Torah shekel, not what we consider a shekel. Esrim Geda, 20 mana. This is how it was originally. However, later times, they added a sixth. Instead of a dinner being 5 mana, or a Gera, it became worth 6 mana. And indeed, our rabbis taught a dinner is comprised of 6 mana of silver. And since a shekel is worth 4 dinners, then that's 24 manas to 1 seller, as opposed to 20 manas to the shekel of the Torah. So the shekel of Torah always stay 20 mana a shekel. Essen Geda a shekel. 20 mars, Geda is a mar, to a shekel. So it was evaluated according to the silver what a mar is. Verse 26. However, firstborn that must be sacrificed as the firstborn to the Lord. Every firstborn animal belongs to the Lord. So a firstborn of a cow or a sheep is the firstborn of a cow or sheep does not belong to anybody, it belongs to God. Therefore, lo yaktish Yisrael, so a person cannot consecrate. He can't give a donation of firstborn, doesn't belong to him. As Rashi says, for the purpose of any sacrifice, you can't take a firstborn animal and give it as a sacrifice because it doesn't belong to him. It doesn't belong to the person that has it. But from birth, the firstborn animal is designated to the Holy One. It has to be given to the Kahana. So therefore, you can't consecrate your first animals, your firstborn animals. They don't belong to you. They belong from birth to the Kohen. As the Torah tells us, the firstborn of animal have to give it to the Kohen, like a child. Verse 27. Now, if someone consecrates an unclean animal, so he took his animal that you don't bring it as a carbon even, and he consecrated his horse to the Beis Hamikdash. You have to redeem it, the valuation. The Beis Hamikdash doesn't want your unclean animal. And you should never consecrate an unclean animal. So therefore, you have to take the valuation, you have to add a 5th. That's your penalty. The penalty is the 5th that you add to the value. And if it's not redeemed, it shall be sold for the valuation price. So now she says, and this with the unclean animal, this verse is not referred to back to a firstborn animal. This is discussed in the previous verse. We cannot state a firstborn unclean animal. He may redeem it in paying the valuation, but only an unclean animal in which the law of firstborn applies is a donkey, right? Any unclean animal is no law of firstborn. There's only one unclean animal in the Torah that has the law of firstborn. That's a donkey. You have a firstborn donkey, you have to really give it to the Beis Hamikdash, but you can't. So as the Torah tells us, you have to give it. You have to supplement it with a sheep. But there's no other unclean animal that has a firstborn. There's no concept like that. So therefore, if your dog had a firstborn, it does not belong to the Beis Hamikdash, because there's no such law as a firstborn of a dog in Torah law. So therefore, the pasuk is not talking about that. And this verse cannot refer to a donkey, because the firstborn of a donkey can be redeemed only with a lamb. That's in the book of Exodus, which becomes a gift to the Kohen and not given to the sanctuary, and does not the valuation of money in our verse. Rather, our verse here is referring back to consecrating of one's possession to the temple. The scripture above said, we're speaking about redemption of clean animals that have been consecrated and subsequently blemished. The Torah tells us if you consecrate an animal and it was blemished, you have to redeem it. This is what the Torah is talking about. So here the Torah is talking about a redemption of and here our verse is speaking about one who consecrated an unclean animal for the maintenance of the Beit Temple. I decided to consecrate my dog. Then I need to add. I need to redeem. I need to change it over. And if I don't change it over, then the Beis Hamikdash just sells it. Part of it, according to how much the Kohen, because the Kohen does not want your unclean animal in the temple. If it's not redeemed from the owners, it will be sold by others. The Kohen will sell it and finish. Verse 28. However, anything that a man devotes to the Lord, from anything that he has, Adam, whether it's an animal, a human being, whether it's an animal, or a part of his inheritance of field, lo yimker, shall not be sold, v'lo yigo, shall not be redeemed. Kodesh Kadoshim Hu Hashem, it's holy of holies to God. Our rabbis are in dispute regarding this matter of devoted properties. What is the meaning of this verse? Some say that the unqualified vows of devoted properties, meaning he says, I hereby chedem, I devoted, and does not specifically specify, go automatically to the sanctuary monies designated to maintain the temple. According to this ruling, what does the meaning? Anything devoted in Israel shall belong to you. That says later. This refers to vows of devoted property, specifically designated to Kohanim, whereby somebody says explicitly, this is devoted for the Kohen. So there's a difference in a person that says, I'm giving it, I'm devoted to God, or I'm giving it to the Kohen. So it's a different law. So over here, we're talking about a guy that said, I'm devoting it to God. But some rabbi says, this is unqualified vows of devoted properties go automatically to the Kohen. And it doesn't go to the Beis Hamikdash. It goes even unqualified. I didn't say to go to the Kohen. I just said I'm giving it to God. It goes to the Kohen. Shall not be sold, nor shall be redeemed, but it must be given to the Kohen. According to those who rule that unqualified vows of devoted property go automatically to the Kohen, they explain this verse as referring to unqualified vows of devoted property. While those that who rule that unqualified vows of devoted property go automatically to the sanctuary, maintaining the temple, explained this verse as referring to vows of devoted property, specifically designated to the Kohen. For all agree that devoted property, specifically designated to Kohen, does not have any redemption until it falls into possession of the Kohen, and the property then becomes completely non-consecrated and can even be sold by the Kohen. Devoted property to the Holy One, blessed be He, specifically donated to maintain the temple, on the other hand, may be redeemed. So there's a difference in Jewish law whether I gave it specifically to the Kohen or I gave it to the temple. If I gave it a donation to a Kohen, it can never be redeemed unless the Kohen sells it. If I gave it to the temple can redeem it. Because what does the temple need it? The temple does not need it. May be redeemed at a market value even before it reaches the temple treasury. And its redemption money go to the maintenance of the holy temple, and the property itself becomes non-consecrated. Those who rule that the unqualified vows and devoted property go to the maintenance of the holy temple, bringing this verse as a proof to their position. However, those who rule that the unqualified vows and devoted property go to the Kehanim, explain the phrase here, all devoted things are holy of holies, to mean that the act of devoting items to the Kohen can take effect upon the animal sacrifice with the degree of holy of holies, indicating the use of double expression, Kodesh Kadosh. Moreover, even a single expression of Kodesh indicates that the act can take effect upon the sacrifice with a degree of lesser holiness. Thus, if someone undertakes to bring a sacrifice, allocated which animals he is to sacrifice, and then subsequently devoted the animal to the Kohen, he decided to bring a sacrifice, and then he decided to take that animal and give it to the Kohen. He must give the relevant money to the Kohen and then sacrifice the animal for the offering he had undertaken. Just as written in the tract of Erchin, if he made a vow to bring a sacrifice, and he said, I take upon myself to bring an animal as such and such a sacrifice. In this case, if the animal had been allocated and become lost or blemished, he must fulfill his vow with a replacement animal. For his vow was to bring a sacrifice and was not limited to that particular animal. Therefore, in the case of the devoted vow, neder, he must give the Kohen worth of the money in full value of the animal, for it's still considered fully his when he devoted it to the Kohen. And if he committed himself in the form of a donation, the dove is saying, this particular animal is to be brought to such a sacrifice. In this case, the animal had been allocated, becomes lost or blemished. He need not replace it because the animal is not there. So it's again, there's a lot of laws. It's in Gemara. A person says, I take it upon myself to bring a sacrifice. Then he has to bring the sacrifice, whether it's this animal or another animal. If he says Arizeh, he says this is the sacrifice. And this animal, which he said this is, gets lost. What should I do? The animal that I said is going to be the sacrifice, or the animal I say I'm going to consecrate is not here anymore. So he doesn't have to bring another animal. Since the case of the animal lost or dies, he would be required to bring another in replacement. And once he has set an animal aside for the purpose of a particular sacrifice, he's considered to have already fulfilled his duty. And so he actually sacrificed became simply a gift to God. Enjoying his gesture of presenting a gift to God is the benefit he had to the animal, and which is the extent of his monetary ownership. The benefit is a value as follows. Someone else who's not obligated to bring the sacrifice is asked how much he would have paid with an animal sacrifice in his name as a gift to God. The amount that the person states is the amount that one devoting must give to the Kohen. And then he must bring the animal as a sacrifice as per his undertaking of bringing a donation if he said, I take it upon myself. So this is all in Masechtas Echem. It's a lot of laws. As I said, these are not so simple laws. You can go through it in the Mishnah and the Gemara and how they learn it all from the Pasuk. Adam, anything that a man devotes on any of his property, whether it's a person, for example, he devoted his son, Jewish male or female servant, he consecrated his property, all the same law. If you made a donation, the value, you can't give what the Kohen, Beis Hamikdash is not going to want your child or your slave. It's going to want that you should evaluate how much it's the value and give the money to the Beis Hamikdash. And that completes the Chumash of today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We are holding in middle of chapter 51 of Tanya. And the Alter Rebbe has been explaining to us the concept of the aspect that we conceive from our own bodies, the way the Eibishter fills the world, as the soul fills the body, so too God fills the world. And just like when the soul fills the body, the soul fills the entire body. He fills the entire body equally from head to toe. But then the soul comes in the brain that gives ultimately to each and every part of the body what it needs. So the eye receives through the brain its power to the eye. That all comes from the soul, which the soul, in essence, had a potential of every concept in the body. So even though, as I said again, the soul cannot be put in compartments, because the soul is pashut, the soul is just a simple light, a simple energy, extremely powerful energy that you cannot deep compartmentalize. You cannot put it into a box. It's, so to say, unlimited, but ultimately within this unlimited, within this pashut, simple light, there is the capability of sight. There is the capability of hearing. There is the capability of seeing. There is the capability of walking. There is the capability of any other 248 limbs and 365 sinews. And there's the capability of thought. And there's the capability of speech. And so on and so forth. It all comes about through the brain. So that's the Gili HaNeshama, the revelation of the soul. But that's not the soul itself. The soul itself is, again, an pashut, a simple light, a simple energy, a force that is, you cannot, that permeates everything. And that means that ultimately the way the soul permeates the body, it permeates it, it goes through everything. The whole body is alive through the power of the soul. Now, the way the soul reveals itself in the eyes is different than when the way the soul reveals itself in the foot. And so too we can understand God. We can understand in a way of an analogy, of mashal, it's not totally correct. We can understand the way the Eibishter fills the world. The Eibishter fills the world as kala olam kula animali. I fill the entire world. From the upper worlds to the lower worlds, they're all equal to me. I give life. I create. And I continuously to create the whole world. From the inanimate objects to the greatest angels and greatest souls, greatest galaxies. I created everything. And therefore, everything is nothing to me and everything is equal to me. But there is a difference. So what's the difference? The Alter Rebbe continues. The difference between the higher and the lower, there is a higher and lower. It's only regarding the flow of vitality. The way the Eibishter flow is illuminated in a manner of revelation, out of concealment. The way God reveals himself in everything is different. God reveals himself in a certain way in a rock, and he reveals himself in a certain way in an inanimate object, and he reveals himself in a certain way in an animal. He ultimately reveals himself in a human being in a certain way, and then he reveals himself in a soul in a certain way, and then he reveals himself in angels in a certain way, etc., etc. So it's all about that revelation. Now, the Rebbe will soon conclude that the revelation is intended for the purpose of vitalizing the world and their inhabitants, for the vitality of all the worlds and creatures derived from the revelation of godliness within them. Thus, the difference between the higher and the lower lies in the varying degrees of divine revelation within. And that's why it's all dependent on the vessel to the revelation. It's not dependent on the light. It's dependent on the vessel. So really, if you want to bring it down, it's all dependent on us to the revelation. We're going to reveal us. We're going to have a better vessel. We're going to have a better receptacle. We'll have a greater light. God, the revelation of the concealment. The Rebbe now states parenthetically that this manner of revelation is one of the reasons why the godly vitality we found within the world is called light. For this reason, why in Kabbalah, very important, Chassidus, Oid is a very important word. It's called light. Oid HaTorah, the light of the Torah. Oid HaKodesh, Oid Ein Sof Baruch Hu, the light of infinity. Oid. Oid is an important number. Important word. Kabbalistic literature, the flow of God vitality is termed light. Not energy, but light. Rather than flux, shefa. As in termed in Jewish philosophy, Chakira, they say shefa. Light signifies revelation out of concealment. Previously, the light had been concealed within the luminary, the source of the light, and subsequently it's drawn forth from this source and revealed as light. And that's why it's also called in many places Pashat, simple light. Light is simple. Very simple, clear, straightforward. Thus, in the case of revelation out of concealment, only a minute illumination of the source is drawn down into revealed state. Not so with shefa, where the actual flux and stream of the source that flows down is revealed. Hence the phrase, shif asmayim, a flow of water. The self-same water that previously in one place flows to another. But is up to the concept of its revelation. It's all is all about its revelation. If no revelation, then the is not revealed. If there is revelation, then the that is shining is revealed. The Bava revelation and the concealment of light serves the purpose of thereby animating the worlds and the creatures therein. Herein lies the difference between the higher and lower worlds. The upper worlds, somewhat the light in the upper worlds are somewhat more revealed form than the lower. Meaning, even in the higher worlds, this light of vitality is not manifestly revealed. It's just more revealed. But ultimately, the light cannot be revealed because if the light were revealed in a strong way in any world, it would consume the world. So therefore, in all worlds, it's only a light that the world can handle. And hereby, the higher worlds receives the revealed aspect of vitality, albeit each according to its capacity and nature. Just as the analogy, each bodily organ receives vitality from the brain according to its character and nature. If chas v'shalom, the brain would send the waves that it needs to go to the eye, to the ear, you would have a big problem. You wouldn't be able to hear, and you wouldn't be able to see. In the Gemara, they used to call a person that's blind sagi nar, too much light. That would mean that the brain is sending too much energy to the eye, to the vessel of the eye that it cannot see. It's too much light. For some reason, the brain is sending a light, an oil, that the vessel of the eye cannot handle. And that's the meaning over here. The brain knows exactly what the eye needs and what kind of oil that eye needs to be able to see. So it fits it exactly. Baruch Hashem. Everything fits that. That's one of the beautiful prayers of Yashayata. That the Eibishter made a body that everything works so perfectly. And everything goes to its place so perfectly. And if it didn't, that's how we get sick. Now, the Rebbe states that each creature receives its vitality according to capacity of nature. This means that each being receives vitality according to its capacity for that life force, and vitality revealed within it, according to the manner in which the vitality is to be revealed, whether in a revelation of an intellect and comprehension or in motive matters. The Eibush knows exactly how much intellect I can handle. The Eibush knows exactly in my emotional state. He knows exactly the energy I need. But this is not to say that the nature conceals the revelation. Rather, it imbues and illuminates it. And note by the Rebbe. So this is the point. The Eibishter made the vessel that it fits the oil. It actually gives the oil its place. So chas v'shalom, to say my body it hides my soul. No, actually, my body elevates my soul. My body, my physical reality, is perfectly fit for my soul, and therefore my soul has the capability to shine through my body. And every soul and every body is different. The Eibishter gave each and every one of us our souls and our bodies, not to say that, oh, you know what, I have a soul, but my body is not made for it. My Gashmi is just not made for my godly soul. The Rebbe's note over here is the opposite. Not only did the Eibishter made that your soul comes into your body, knows exactly what it needs for your existence, but actually your body fits your soul in such perfection that it imbues the soul. It illuminates it. It gives the soul a capability to shine. So nobody can say, my soul cannot shine. It 100% can shine. It actually will only shine through your body. And the neshama will shine like a burning fire through your body. Because your body is not only a receptacle for your neshama. My body is not only a receptacle for its soul, a vessel it actually gives the soul the capability to shine. So you imagine that the soul has the concept of sight, but it cannot see in this world only through the vessel of the eye. So not only does the soul have the capacity of sight, but it ultimately only has sight in this world through my eyes. So my eyes give the soul not only a receptacle, but it gives it also a place to shine forth. So to my mouth, and so to my ears, and so to my walking, and so to my everything, my neshama can shine through every aspect of my body. Chassom can be the opposite. If I use my vessel, my receptacles, and my eyes, and my ears, and my mouth, and my for the opposite, then I'm not letting the soul shine. That's all I'm doing. I'm not letting this soul shine. I'm darkening the soul. I'm imprisoning the soul, as the Alter Rebbe said before. I'm imprisoning the soul. So we all need to realize that the soul and my soul and my body work in unison. The Eibishter made the soul that fits my body, and the Eibishter wants that my soul should shine through my body. And which is the nature and forms the particular flow with the blessed and illuminates it. And then you have the lower world, which is us, even the spiritual ones. And it's less revealed. So Baruch Hashem, because in a way it's less revealed, so that I can reveal it. If it was too revealed, it would break the body. Like I said before, Sagi Nor, that a person that has, we call a blind person in the Talmud, someone has too much light. Broke the vessel of sight. Now he's physically blind. So the Eibishter hid the light. And now that gives the capability for the Tachtein, for the one that's lower to reveal the light. That he should reveal it. And every person needs to reveal the light according to his capacity. By many means of many garments, whereby the blessed is invested the vitality and the light, the same light, which he caused to flow and shine on them in order to animate them. So the divine life force is garbed in many garments, so it's not revealed. This concealment involves not only the multitude of fusions of the garments, a quantitative manner of concealment, but also a qualitative as well. There's a vast difference between insutable garments that conceal the vitality in the higher world, and much more denser garments necessary to conceal the godly vitality to the degree that the creation of physical becomes possible. So that ultimately, from the spiritual entities of the upper worlds that can handle more spirituality, which ultimately makes them more spiritual, to a physical world, where God wanted this physical world, that this physical world should not lose its physicality as it's connected to the spiritual world. It should remain in the physical world, and therefore this light is so hidden, so to say, so that it should not be revealed, so that to make sure that the physical world continues to be a physical world, and at the same time reveals some aspect of this light, and a light that will not diminish the physical world. And that's why ultimately the Eibishter made mitzvahs, which gives the capability of revelation of this light of godliness in the world, in the physical world, and it does not totally totally destroy, or not the right word, destroy, would bring about a revelation to the world that the world would cease to exist. The Alter Rebbe is not finished with this explanation. Sorry that we are concluding the Tanya right now, because that's where it ends today, the Tanya of the day. You should, Amir Shem, continue the Tanya tomorrow by yourself. Tomorrow Shabbos, you can learn the Chumash and the Parsha of Bechukosai, and also continue learning the Tanya by yourself. And today, that's the 26th day of the month. The Tillim of the month is the Tillim of the day. Is the second part of chapter 119, which starts from the letter Mem till the letter Taf, and you would have done the chitas of the day. Today, this Shabbos is Shabbos Mevarchim. We bless the new month, the month of Sivan, the month of Kabbalah Satera, the giving of the Torah. We are coming to the last week of the counting of the Yomer also. So we are going to bless the new month this week, the Mitzvah tomorrow, and we'll see you all in Mitzvah on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Then we're going to start the new Parsha, the new book, the book of Numbers, and the book of Bamidbar. And we will learn together. Together we learn together the whole Bereshis, the whole Shemais, the whole Vayikra. And now we go into the book of Bamidbar. Whenever winter comes, we know the summer comes. So we are going into the book of Numbers together, Mirch Hashem. So I hope to see you all on Shabbos, or to see you all in Mirch Hashem on Sunday at 8 a.m. Have a beautiful and wonderful Shabbos.